Well, good evening, everyone. Michael, soothing here. What kinds of sounds relax you? I can tell you one kind that's always relaxed me. That is the sound of trains. Of course, there are many kinds of ASMR and sounds that can be relaxing. But one of those is trains for me. And so I'm going to look at this classic Trains magazine today with you and just chat about trains a little bit. It's also soothing to be on a train. It's the movement and the sound combined. I think that if it's nighttime and you're on a train, it would be easy to sleep if people aren't making too much noise, especially if you're in one of those sleeper cars where you got a cubicle that has, a bunk bed or two. I think we'll take a trip on Amtrak sometime. Once they stop all the masks and so forth, they're still doing that on Amtrak. So, yeah. Let's take a look down at the magazine and change the angle and chat trains a little bit. Of course, the water glass is almost empty, so we better add to it first before we talk trains. Sounds of water are, of course, relaxing to me also, as they probably are to many of you. Adventures in train travel. Someone did 9,400 miles on a USA rail pass. Let's see what we've got here in this issue. I was given this as a gift. Hold on, I've got to close the windows or the blinds are gonna bang like crazy because of the wind outside. I'll be right back. All right, circling America by rail. That would be, if you had the time and the resources financially, that would be an interesting way to travel. In the 1946 movie, It's a Wonderful Life, Jimmy Stewart's character, George Bailey, declares on hearing the cry of an approaching steam locomotive that the three most exciting sounds in the world are anchor chains, plane motors, and train whistles. We couldn't agree more. Here's an Amtrak Coast Starlight. That's one of the trips I want to take. From Oregon all the way down to San Diego in Southern California and back. It goes through the Cascades and all kinds of places along the ocean down in Southern California. In the right time of year, you'll see a lot. Ann Arbor raises the roof. It says there, the trains we missed. When I was a kid, I used to draw pictures of trains. I was obsessed with them. I'm talking from about the age of 3 years old on. My parents said they couldn't take me on trips very easily because if I saw a train track or a train, I would start talking about it and wouldn't stop. One of the traits of Asperger's, B&O Classics, 1936 to 1972. Mountain Division. Tell me what kind of... Here's an old train, Nashville, in the 1940s. Here's the Pennsylvania 482. A fleet of 301 mountains. 1923 it says there. I used to like to draw the Santa Fe Express when I was a kid and color it with colored pencils. I liked that locomotive, the look of it. See, I'm not a subscriber, but they're trying to get me to subscribe. Big Sandy, Texas is where this magazine is made, I guess. Do you like model trains? I found those fascinating when I was a kid also. Yeah. What trains have you been on, if any? The most recent trains I went on were in Denmark when I went to visit Joanne before she moved here to the States. We took a train over from Copenhagen to Sweden, Malmo. And that was a nice train ride. And we took a lot of local trains because you don't really have a car there. One fine day on a sand patch, wherever that is, that's the wind. You can hear it making some rather frightening, gnarly sounds. I think most of the country has a heat wave now, but we've been cool along the Oregon coast. On a cloudless day, losing my voice. Allergies came late this year. The fireman is doing an admirable job keeping the stack clear on the steep climb. This might become a whisper video. Amtrak's Rainbow Connection. See how elegant travel was back then? People sitting around, relaxing in a lounge. You know, professional stewards serving you food. I don't think it's that way so much now. Circling America by rail. Summer 1976. The author did this trip long ago in the 70s. It would appear. You can see the photos back then were low resolution, right? Probably an expensive camera, still low resolution when you blow it up. Now you have a phone that takes better pictures than $1,000 cameras did back then, or close to it. And without all the expense of film development. When I was younger, went on trips with my grandparents. We went on some trains that I really enjoyed. The Colorado Silverton Durango run, which still runs to this day as a tourist train, used to be a mining train route to the silver mines. Speaking of silver, this train's called the Silver Meteor. It rounds Honeymoon Y on the way to Jacksonville. Well, these are all the trains the author went on when he went around America. Miami to New York, the East Coast. I purchased the passes, a process complicated by the fact that the ticket agent had never sold such a pass, and it had to be handwritten. They had a product that they didn't know how to sell. But he soldiered on Amtrak Mountaineer. Just looking at this magazine really gives me the urge to do some train travel. Yeah, these are the kind of engines I always drew as a kid because I would see them all the time. When we lived down in Reedsport by the water not long ago, there was a train that would rumble by almost every day, a big lumber train. And Joanna and I would walk over there. It was close by where we lived. We'd be able to watch it go over this big trestle, over the Umpqua River. And you could feel the ground shake. Even a couple 100 yards away, where we were sitting on a pier by the water. All these different trains, they fascinate me. Oh, here's his routes that he took in the summer of '76. Went from LA, this must have been the Starlight Express, up to Oakland, and then east. You go east over Donner Pass in the high Sierras. Another route I'd like to take sometime to go over to Reno. That's a nice trip. In the winter when it's all snow, that's interesting. Then he went all the way to Utah and picked up a different route to go to Denver, and then through Nebraska and Iowa up to Chicago. I wonder if they had 1,000 shootings on a weekend up there back then as they do now. I don't think so. On to Detroit, and I think he backtracked and went down through these states, West Virginia, Maryland, and up to New York, Pennsylvania a little bit. Then he had a route that took him down through the southern states, North and South Carolina, and Georgia, and Florida. Yeah. Then he backtracked and went through all the more southerly routes. I don't have a sound effects machine on. That's just the wind. Okay. The Coast Starlight, like I said, here it is, going along the ocean there, along the California coast, between Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo. Very beautiful area, coastal California, the right time of year. The San Francisco Zephyr, that's the one I think that goes over the Sierras. The Coast Starlight. People now make YouTube videos of these train trips, and they show all the accommodations, give you the scenery in high definition, and things like that. As night fell, the little streamliner made its way down the Front Range via the Big Ten curve. The appearance was like that from a jetliner on its final approach. I never really thought of a train as being like a jetliner myself. Yep, I must have drawn this kind of engine 100 times when I was a kid. Should have saved some of those drawings, huh? Doesn't look too crowded here. The guy's sitting by himself in the dining car. Yeah, all low-res photos. Maybe they were taken with a Polaroid. No, they would be all faded out, if so. All right, let's see here. A ticket from Tomahawk. Winding through the Eagle River Canyon, west of Radcliffe, Colorado, Rio Grande. The 2882 3603 engine helps a 484 train. See, there's two engines pulling together. when they give you these numbers, that has to do with the array of wheels on the engine. So a 2882 means there's 2 wheels up here. Then there's 8 wheels, like a set of 8 altogether for, 2 on each side, and another set of 8, 4 on each side, I should say, and then another 2 in the very back. I'll find another train where it's easier to show you why they use that or how they're explaining that designation. Montana. They're in Montana. The Rio Grande's Royal Gorge, Pueblo, Colorado, in the early 1950s. Wouldn't you like to go back in time? Oh, maybe not. The temperature in that car must have been 85 or 90. We hadn't been that hot all summer up in Canada. The south wind doesn't stop here. I dig the lights on the front. What other trains have I been on I can tell you about? We went on the Canadian Railway in British Columbia when I was a kid. And like I said, the Silverton Durango line. And then, there was a narrow gauge train. Uh-oh, I hear sirens. A narrow gauge train close to where I used to live in Santa Cruz. Roaring Camp has a train that you can take up into the redwoods. Old steam engine train. It's pretty cool. A little bit expensive. It's like $25 or something, $30 a piece. Maybe more. You'd have to look it up. Getting there was fun, it says. Getting there is fun in Burlington. Check out these styles back then. Guys wore hats all the time, When did guys stop wearing hats to work and in public? What year do you think that happened? Because if you look at the older films, everybody was wearing a hat. And then suddenly they all stopped. Sort of like ties at work, When I was first in aerospace, we all had to wear a dress shirt and tie. And somewhere along the line, the ties went away, thankfully. I didn't have to choke anymore. I could just look at the pictures all day. Here is a passenger ticket. I'd like to go to a giant train museum. Went to a train museum, I think it was in Sacramento, a few years ago. That was interesting. All these different Sputnik, East Mixed Train West, 1962. Great train rides make great memories, it says here. But which are the best? He rode in an observation car in Michigan, so comfortable that I had to fight off sleep. Well, it'd be okay to just sleep some of the time. But then you miss all the... You know what people do now, which drives me a little bit crazy, is they do things like this, go on a cruise, a train, various things, a tour, And then they have their head buried in their phone the whole time. And they miss everything. Isn't that bizarre? It's both bizarre and annoying. Personally, I want to see the stuff that I'm looking at. This looks like the Columbia River Gorge, but it's not. It's up in Maine, it would appear. Passenger power in the age of steam. Here's a 4664. That means you've got, if you look down the side, you'd have 2 wheels here on each side. That's the 4. And then an array of 3 drive wheels on each side. That's the 6. Another array of 3 drive wheels on each side. Another 6. And then 4 more small wheels in the back of the engine. That's kind of an ominous and scary looking locomotive there, don't you think? All black and with these strange angular Pennsylvania 52. They were fast. But various bugs and the diesel ensured they had short lives. Retirement is not far off for this one, says. I like the old steam trains. I find those fascinating. (482). Here's one where you can more easily see the wheel array. So the 4 is these 4 little front wheels, 2 on each side, right? And the 8 are the drive wheels, 4 on each side. And then there's 2 more that you can't quite see because this guy is rudely standing right in our way. Let's ask him to move. There, he's gone now. And where is this? New York. 460. No wheels on the back under the cab there. That's the 0. He's just floating in space, okay? 444. 4, 4, 4. All right. I'll stop obsessing over the wheel array, I promise. I don't want to drive you crazy. The Texas type says here. I really love it when they go on routes where there's no roads, so you can see things that you could never see otherwise. That's the kind of train trip I want to take. Southern Pacific. It's a strange looking locomotive, isn't it? Looks more like a streetcar on the front. Right there. It's the San Francisco to Los Angeles route, going through Soledad Canyon in 1952. It was mostly for freight trains. New England Adventure, 1966. You know, anytime I start feeling tense about the world, I think I'll just come and read through this train magazine. I think it will relax and settle me right down, don't you? But so far I haven't even read about everybody's experiences. Marquette, Perry Marquette, Passenger Excellence. Grand Rapids, Detroit train, 1940. Interesting. Everything is labeled here. Baggage Mail Express car is that one. 7 is the Mail Express car. Imperial Salem coach is this one. Conventional 222 coach back there. Parlor Lounge dining car is number 10 there. And then the Trowbridge Tower and Signals is there. Yeah. Teenage Track Man. Track workers have a hard and dirty job. Yep. A lot of people had tough jobs back then. Loggers, you name it. People worked really hard once upon a time. They didn't get to go on vacation for a year and a half at government expense. Like today, Montana calling. Oh, that's an incredible view there. That would be quite a sight. Live in high def. Going along the mountain range of Montana, east of East Glacier. More modern ones. Big Sky Railroading. Montana's called Big Sky Country. I think that's their motto. It's on their license plates and things like that. The photographer has a chase vehicle, a Porsche 911. Okay, for my German and Bavarian subbies, is it Porsche or is it Porsche? Or maybe neither one of those. I've never understood how to pronounce it. Why don't you guys tell me? Alright, let's see here. I was chasing the train to take photos. That might be interesting also. I find train bridges to be incredibly frightening because I'm not so much into heights, but it would still be interesting to go over them and see that drop-off view. I always think about walking on one just when the train is coming, you know, being stuck in the middle and the train can't stop. Like in that movie Stand By Me, where the kids are on the bridge, right? I think that's been done in other films too. Train yards are interesting. Wisconsin is where this is. Battling snow, finding efficiencies, building morale. I know we're not reading much because this is kind of a page-turning sort of video. Winter is no excuse. We've been through 122 of them, it says here. After a heated remark by CN Northwest, Canadian and Northwest, President Larry Provost, posters bearing his words began appearing around the system. He was saying, "Listen, you train staffers, I don't want to hear any excuses. In spite of those blizzards that are blocking the tracks everywhere." Yeah. He must have been a tough cookie. Some fortunes were made back in that era by the train moguls, you know, who bought and expanded railroads and became tycoons, railroad tycoons. But they weren't necessarily nice guys, okay? Beans a la board. No, I'll pass on that. Is the dog named Beans? Oh no, they've got two chefs in the window there. Don't feed me the beans, please. People are watching from boats on the Wisconsin River. This train going by, it's a circus train. It's carrying the circus World Museum to Milwaukee. A day on the dead horse job. A Santa Fe 060. The same class as the one author, Elwood's Los Angeles job, crosses a street in San Diego in the 1940s. I don't think we would see this here today in San Diego, but we would see some palm trees if we're lucky, and some other sights I won't mention. Uh-oh. I hate it when that happens. Somebody's bothering me with messages. End of an era in northern Michigan. The last train south out of Sheboygan, Michigan, July 28th, 1978. That's kind of sad when the last train goes. Guide to North American Cabooses. Everyone needs this in their library. A guide to North American cabooses. They're not talking about people's bums there. No. Mountain Rail Adventures in West Virginia. All aboard the bed and breakfast dinner train. Well, now if it's bed and breakfast, why is it a dinner train? First class, $429 per couple. That sounds like a pretty good but somewhat expensive date. Take a leisurely ride, enjoy dinner and drinks, then stay overnight on our historic train. If it includes the overnight, that's not too bad, right? Climb to the very top of New England. Oh, there's those cool looking Art Deco train cars from the 1930s and 40s. I like those. Labor Day in Scranton. Pennsylvania Steel City Statement. Oh, here's various ads in different states for trains that you can go on there. Here's one. Oh, and museums. It's not just trains, it's museums and things like that. I think that's the end of our magazine. It is. There's a classic car next to a classic train. Kind of cool. Nevada Railway. See, this car was equipped with the little train wheels there. Can you see them? So that it could go on the tracks. And it was an official, car they could use to check out the tracks and stuff, maintenance. Be the engineer, attend the Railroad Reality Week, and operate the High Rail 18. Alright, I hope this video relaxed you. If so, please give it a thumbs up, and please give it a thumbs up anyway, even if it didn't, because that helps my algorithm. And then click on the bell because if you do that, you'll be notified when I make a new video. Alright everyone, I think my next video is going to be about flowers and fish, because I showed you all the seeds that I planted in what was just a dirt, sand, weed area. So now I want to show you the update, and then I'll show you in the aquarium what I use in there. Who are the cleaners of the aquarium? We'll focus on those this next time. The guys that get the job done. Alright, take care everyone. Don't ASMR and drive. Bye bye.